Thank you. Please be seated. Let's go on the record in the matter of State versus Ellis, case number 241100884. We're here for sentencing today for Mr. Ellis. I've read the pre-sentence report. I've also read the letters that were filed by the victim's family in this matter. I've also listened to the audio phone call that the state provided to the court late yesterday. I was able to listen to that this morning in between hearings. I believe we already had a brief discussion about the case, but just for the record, are there any errors, mistakes, or admissions in the pre-sentence report that the state or the defense needs to address the court about?
No, Your Honor. The report has been provided to Mr. Ellis, reviewed, and then I have reviewed with him, and there are no inaccuracies or objections that we have.
Thank you, Mr. Rund.
We agree as such. No errors or inaccuracies.
All right, thank you. All right, let's proceed forward then. Mr. Palmer, I'll turn the time over to you.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, Your Honor. Mr. Ellis has been convicted of domestic violence murder, a mandatory prison offense, for the killing of his brother-in-law, Matthew Restelli. As the court knows, it held a 2-day preliminary hearing in this case and heard 7 days of evidence during the trial. We know you have taken hundreds of pages of notes about this matter. You're well aware of the facts of this case. We know you've reviewed the pre-sentence report as well as the letters submitted along with it. As such, the state will proceed as follows today. First, the state intends to present one additional piece of evidence to the court. We realize the court has already reviewed the entirety of the audio that we submitted. We will, however, play 2 small portions, amount to roughly 3 or 4 minutes of that phone call. Second, we will ask the court to hear from Mark Restelli, Matthew Restelli's brother, and Diane Restelli, his mother. Third, the state will make brief remarks regarding its sentencing recommendation for the court today.
All right, in your sentencing recommendation, just so we're clear, define the term that's allowed by statute so I understand it. Make sure there's no mistakes or misunderstandings, please.
Yeah, jumping to that briefly, Your Honor, we realize this is a mandatory imprisonment offense. The argument today is purely over which charges should run concurrent versus consecutive.
Correct. But I'm talking about 5 to life, 1 to 15. Let's make sure that the record's clear and that Mr. Williams agrees with what you're recommending. It follows through statute.
Let me just ask Mr. Williams. We both agree it is a 20 to life on the top charge, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I misunderstood before what you were asking, but that's what it is.
All right, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. First, the additional piece of evidence. As the court is aware, Mr. Ellis was convicted on January 28th of this year. On the 31st, he participated in a phone call from the jailhouse with one of his sisters. That call was, of course, recorded by the Securus recording system. The entirety of the call was approximately 20 minutes. We are going to play 2 small portions. Timestamp 10:45 to 12:28, and then timestamp 14:30 to 16:42.
And I'm worried to hurt her feelings. She ruined so many lives, and I'm worried to hurt her feelings.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you something now, a little extra.
What's that?
Well, I asked if she was sure.
She was sure?
Mm-hmm. Because she was like, didn't tell me anything about all this stuff that happened. And I was like, are you sure this is exactly what would happen? And I'm like, she's scheming and doing all this. And she says yes. And she beat Cheyenne. That was her response. Or he beat Cheyenne.
Oh, my God.
I know I was already here. I'm sorry. I wanted to tell you that for so long.
No, I know. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
And I feel
so
like
sad.
I still bear so much of the blame, too, for all this.
And that makes me so mad that she's caused you to have to live with this.
I mean,
Like, it's,
I could have done something different. I should have stood up, and I should have said no.
yeah. Yeah. But your mom should have never asked you that. You should have never had to have to say no.
The same person who planned this is the same person who baked cookies. It's the same, like,
And that's wild. Like, she's the one who made me my chocolate chip cookies without chocolate chips.
I know.
Yep.
And blueberry muffin cakes for your birthday.
Yeah. But this is what she wanted to do. This is I mean, she had to know that there's consequences. She had to.
I just don't think, she just doesn't think far enough ahead. She never has. And I think she just is so used to getting away with everything. She just,
I literally warned her. I said, this will change so many lives. You don't even know how many lives it's going to change.
oh my God, you said that? Wow.
Yes. I said, this is a decision you can't take back. I said that to her.
Wow. Kevin.
Yeah, so there's that.
You were the voice of reason that we all wish we could have, like, seriously, that's what Rachel and I were talking about, like, the reason she didn't want to tell us is because she didn't want to hear our opinion. But you gave her the opinion that we would have given her, like, what the fuck are you, this is insane. This is gonna, you can't do this kind of thing.
I literally warned her. I was like, this is going to have long, like, I said, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know I got it across very eloquently and very efficiently. Of like, this is not the best idea you're having. Like, think about it for a second.
Oh my God.
But and then that's why I feel so much blame, because I didn't step up at that point and be like, you know what, no, I need to take my own advice.
Yeah.
I went with, I trusted her.
Thank you, Your Honor. One point of clarification and correction. I gave the court the matrix number, not the minimum number. The minimum is 15 years. The matrix is, of course, the 20 years.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, no, it's... At this point, we'd ask the court to hear from Mr. Restelli and Ms. Restelli.
Thank you. Mr. Restelli, if you'd come forward and then clearly state your name into the record and then just address me. Thank you, sir.
My name's Jonathan Mark Restelli. Sorry, do you want me to spell it? I missed that part.
No, that's fine.
I'd like to thank you, Your Honor, and the court for allowing me to speak today. My name is Jonathan Mark Restelli. I go by Mark. I am the youngest of 3 brothers, growing up known as the Restelli boys. Paul is the oldest and our leader, and Matt is our middle brother. This is now the second time I've had to stand in the courtroom and deliver a victim's impact statement. I do it for my brother, Matthew Clark Restelli. This is something I never thought I'd have to do. This is something I don't want to do, but I have to for my brother Matt. And this isn't the last time. This is just 2 out of 3. The first time was the sentencing of Kathryn, Kevin's sister, my brother's wife, the wife who lured Matt to Utah so Kevin could shoot him in the back. After today, I'll be here again, standing in front of the court when Kevin and Kathryn's mother, Tracy Grist, is sentenced to die in prison. 3 conspirators, 3 convictions, 3 separate sentencing, 3 people all tied to the same betrayal, all responsible for the same outcome, the murder of my brother Matt. I want to talk about Matt. I want to talk about brotherhood. Because if there's one thing that defined Matt as a brother, it was loyalty. Matt was loyal to his core, to his family, to his brothers. And Kevin, that included you. I'm going to tell you about a fun memory I have of Matt, one that you, Kevin, might remember. Before Matt and Kathryn got married, we went on an overnight off-roading trip. It was me, Matt, Lucas, that's Matt's oldest son, and Kevin Ellis, Matt's soon-to-be brother-in-law. I remember it clearly because Matt was excited, not about the trip, not about off-roading, but about you, Kevin. He was about to gain a new brother, someone who would join the ranks of Paul and I, someone he could trust, someone he could rely on, someone he could bring into his family and into his life. He saw you, Kevin, as a brother. That night, everything started off great. We were out in Johnson Valley, the Hammers, off-roading in a convoy of about 8 buggies, under the stars. Then Matt's buggy, the one we call the green buggy because it's neon green, snapped a drive shaft. Matt built that buggy from scratch. He bent and welded thousands of pounds of steel. If anyone was going to fix it, it was Matt. It was 1 a.m. We were stuck. Most people would call it. Tow the truck back to camp, night's over. Not Matt. He had a spare drive shaft, but it was in 2 pieces and needed to be welded. So he made a call, got in his truck, and drove 45 minutes in the middle of the night to find someone to weld it at 2 a.m. By 3 a.m., we were back out there, rock crawling like nothing happened. Matt woke up a friend, welded the drive shaft, and swapped that thing out right on the trail. That's who Matt was. He did whatever it took for his people. And that night, whether you realize it or not, he was doing it for you, Kevin. Lucas and I had been out there before. Trucks break all the time. But this one was different. Matt wanted to make sure that Kevin had a great night. Matt wanted Kevin to feel like family. That's what makes this so hard to process. Because the man who went out of his way to welcome you, to trust you, to treat you like a brother, was the same man you shot in the back. I don't know you well, Kevin, but I know you enough. Because we're connected through Matt. And through that, I've seen exactly what you're a part of. 3 family members all tied together, like apples from a poisonous tree. Different shapes, different sizes, same poison. I said it at Kathryn's sentencing. A family of black widows. Draw Matt in, gain his trust, feed off of him, and when the time comes, destroy him. Matt didn't see it. He believed in family. He believed in loyalty. He believed in people. And that belief in the Ellis side of the family cost him his life. But the damage didn't stop with Matt. My mother's life has been devastated. No parent should have to bury their child, especially like this, at the hands of family. What was taken cannot be given back. Our entire family has been permanently changed. There is no moving on from this. There is only learning to live with scars. Kelly and I, our lives, and our 2 children's lives have changed forever. We now have 4 kids in our home. 2 of them are ours, and 2 of them are there because their father can't be. Every single day, we feel the weight of that. Not just the responsibilities, but how hard it is on us, our marriage, our lives. 4 kids, 4 schedules, 4 sets of needs, and 2 of them carrying the loss no child should ever have to carry. We show up, we step in, we do everything we can. But no matter how much I give them, no matter how much I try, I am not their father, and I never will be. Matt is their father. That's the part you took from them. And Matt's children, they have to live with this the rest of their lives. They lost their father in a way no child should ever have to understand. And the worst part, they know what you did. That's right, Kevin. They know. They found out at school. Other kids talking about it. Saying things no child should ever have to hear about their father, about how you shot him. They came home confused, trying to make sense of it. And I remember Matt's daughter saying, "Kevin, I only know Uncle Kevin, and he would never hurt my dad." After hearing that, I had to tell them the truth, that you shot their father in the back and killed him. They are 5 and 8 years old, and you stole a lifetime of memories from them. Now I'm the one stepping into moments that should belong to Matt. For the second time, I took Matt's daughter to the father-daughter dance. There will be a third time, a fourth, and many more moments like this in the future. Moments that Matt and his daughter should be sharing. Moments that build memories they would share together. Memories that you stole from her. And instead, I'm standing there in his place, looking at a little girl who should have her dad. A little girl who knows exactly why she doesn't. Because of her Uncle Kevin. You didn't just take Matt's life. You took every future moment he was supposed to have with his kids. Moments that would have created memories that your niece and your nephew would carry with them the rest of their lives. Every game, every birthday, every dance, every milestone, gone. You robbed them and Matt of the chance of creating those memories. Because of the decisions you made, Kevin. You weren't an outsider. You weren't a stranger. You were let in. You were trusted, and you chose betrayal. Cold, calculated, final. And now you sit here waiting to be sentenced. This is permanent. There is no reset. There's no second chance. Your appeals will fail. Matt is gone. His children now grow up without a father. And our family will never be the same because of the choices you made. So let me be clear. There is no forgiveness. There is no understanding. There is absolutely no excuse. In the name of my brother, Matthew Clark Restelli, a loyal brother, a devoted father, and a man who would have done anything for his family, I ask the court to deliver the maximum sentence possible. Anything less would be a failure of justice. You and I, Kevin, we shared Matt as a brother, and you shot your brother in the back.
Thank you, Mr. Restelli. Ms. Restelli, if you'd come forward, please.
Judge Roger Griffin, court members, and Kevin Ellis. My name is Diane Restelli. I am the mother of Matthew Restelli. I'm writing this victim impact statement to express my thoughts to you, Kevin Ellis, about the death of my son, Matthew Clark Restelli, known as Matt. Kevin, on July 12, 2024, in a plot with the assistance of your sister Kate and other family members, you lured Matt to your mother's home in American Fork, Utah, where you, Kevin, savagely murdered my son. You believed the lies that your sister Kate and involved family members falsely generated about Matt. Kevin, you saw yourself as the protector, giving you value in your family if you eliminated Matt. How wrong you were to think this would be the answer to ruthlessly kill my son, Matt. He did nothing to offend you or hurt you, nor anyone else, but you wanted value, and so you took the golden moment to carry out the vicious plan. Let me go back and review your sister Kate. You know what kind of person she is. She's the mama bear. She would do anything to get what she wanted, and she convinced all of you with the help of family members. In a heartbeat, Kate could change the atmosphere in a home and upset everyone. She was a master at causing chaos. This she did on a regular basis, and Kevin, you know this trait and you have witnessed it. Knowing this, your common sense should have kicked in, but you wanted your golden moment to be the savior. Your family gave you bad advice and direction. Instead of thinking for yourself and recognizing the evil family traits, you did the unthinkable, shooting my son Matt multiple times as he was running for his life. You unloaded 7 shots into him and savagely killed him as if you were hunting a wild animal. What pleasure did you get out of this? How wicked you had become to brutally murder him. This is an unmistakable evil act by a person who I'm ashamed to call human. You have a lot of repentance to do, both on earth and spiritually. How low you have become to swap yourself to take the life of a good man. Kevin, you do not know me or my family. The hurt you have given us is everlasting. Our family is changed forever, and additional duties that a father, Matt, and a mother, Kate, should be doing. There are 2 children at stake here, and you acted with no regards to their future, with or without your sister, Kate. How heartless you had become. None of your family has qualities worthy of raising these children, since those involved all assisted in eliminating Matt. What kind of family were you raised in? It certainly was not loving, caring, and respectful of human life. I know that if I ask you to tell me some of Matt's qualities, you would be stumped, since you could only parrot what your family told you. Let me remind you of some of Matt's qualities. Matt was a spiritual man. He believed that prayer was comforting and necessary. He had a keen sense of when people were not trustworthy and avoided them at all cost. This he knew about your mother, Tracy. He did not like conflict and always worked for solutions. Matt loved his family and his 3 children, and yes, he loved his wife, Kate, despite her negative traits. He protected and supported her all along the way to a fault. We now know her true plan was to eliminate Matt, find another man to support her, and keep the 2 younger children. Matt had many other talents and qualities, but they will never be carried out or displayed because of your actions. Matt's creative spirit, I hope, will carry on in his children, and his keen sense of people will guide them to make better choices in life, not to be someone like you, Kevin. Kevin, I don't know you. I only have information about you secondhand. It is not my place to judge you, nor should you have judged Matt. You made a horrendous mistake killing Matt. I hope you recognize this fact. Everyone in your family should know this fact, but I fear that the spell of evil still possesses them. You and your involved family members even covered up the murder, further supporting the evil connection among the family members. Your family has provided little or no support since Matt's death. They, too, have been heartless. I cannot imagine how Matt must have felt when the bullets were piercing into him and the extreme pain he felt. I shudder at the fact he was hurt, dying, and scared. Your family provided no assistance and watched him die. How heartless and evil this act has been. You tracked him like an animal to fulfill your golden moment, to be the protector, savior of your sister and family, For what? To save another heartless woman, your sister, who caused this chaos? Matt came to American Fork not knowing what was ahead of him. He came with a loving heart to bring his family back home. You made the decision to kill him and cause chaos just like another family member, and to what end? Now you'll be in prison for a very long time. Whatever time you spend will never replace the residual damage you have left for us all. I doubt that you even recognize this fact. It will be our cross to bear, and we'll do it willingly to protect the children and provide a loving, healthy, and quality future for them. It is now our duty to protect the children and ourselves from the abuse from your involved family members that they have perpetrated. I only wish I could have protected Matt from the evil that he was thrown into. I know his lament and his struggles, since Matt spoke to me almost every night. He always held your sister Kate in good light, despite that we all knew she could be who she could be. He never name-called her or belittled her, not like your family has done. Matt had a positive outlook about life situations. His optimism about bringing Kate and the children home made him vulnerable to the lying reassurances of your sister and you, the murderer of Matt. Your sister Kate betrayed me now, has betrayed me, and so have you. I only wish I could have prevented your final act of cruelty to Matt, me and my family, when you violently took his life. You have wounded my emotional heart, rocked it to the core, and now we're trying to pick up the pieces you have left behind with no thought of the long-lasting damage you have caused. We love the children, and we oversee their health and well-being without their mom and dad. Kevin, like Matt, I have done nothing to you to deserve this level of hurt by you. I have endured much in my career as a healthcare professional, but nothing has prepared me for this horrific journey that is underway. I grieve every day for the loss of Matt and the ongoing change we are all undertaking in raising Matt's children. You have no idea what it takes to care for another, or you would have never have done this heinous act. Murdering my son was cold-blooded, was heartless, for which you have tried to cover up, lie about, and I've heard no words of remorse from you. I hope that the court maximizes all of your charges in sentencing so that Matt's children can grow up without your evil influence. Matt would want his children to have a normal, happy childhood among family members who love them. Their lives will be filled with joy, laughter, caring, learning, and respect for family and the legacy of their father. We will make a difference because we care and love them. We are protecting them so that they will know what family life is built on. It's built on love, respect, hard work, support, and commitment to shared values and goals. Kevin, my family will accomplish this without you and any of your involved family members. I will never get to hear Matt's voice again, nor get his hugs. Kevin, you stripped me of my son's presence. Matt's children will never experience their support of their father as they grow into adulthood. Steele will probably never remember his father because he was 3.5 years old when his father was murdered by you. How unfair this act was. You have put my family on a roller coaster ride that no one should be on. The verdict is out. Your actions are not mistaken. Kevin, you murdered Matt, and now you must live with the consequences. Kevin, you took a good man, Matt. You left a hole in our hearts and daily lives. You have no idea of the anguish caused by this senseless death that will echo in our lives of our family for generations to come. There is no happy ending to my victim impact statement, nor should there be. But the Restelli family is strong, and we will get the job done just like Matt would have done. I am sure Matt is pleased that we are caring for his children during this unspeakable time because we cherish and respect the word family, not unlike your family. Kevin, your family has been torn apart by your act. You made this happen, and now you must pay for this evil act. A mistake that should have never happened in the first place had you been grounded in family values and caring for human life. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Restelli. Mr. Pomeroy.
Your Honor, as noted, the murder is a mandatory imprisonment offense. The question is whether the charges should run consecutively or concurrently. The state argues for consecutive. More specifically, the state asks for the obstruction charge and the domestic violence and the presence charges to run consecutively to the homicide. Utah Code 76-3-401, subsection 2 governs. It reads, in determining whether state offenses are to run concurrently or consecutively, the court shall consider the gravity and circumstances of the offenses, the number of victims, and the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant. Consider, Your Honor, the number of victims. As we heard Mr. Ellis acknowledge in that phone call, quote, I warned her, I literally warned her. I said this will change so many lives. You don't even know how many lives this is going to change. Let's consider how many lives have changed. There is, of course, Matthew Restelli, who is the direct victim of this homicide. Then there are Matthew's children, whose father was taken from them at a very young age. Mark has spoken today extensively about what this crime means to them. Then there's the rest of Matthew's family. They've been victimized surely by this crime. A mother grieves her son, a brother grieves his friend, and so on. And though it may have been lost in the trial, Your Honor, this murder has resulted in at least 2 members of the Grist family going to prison with another trial pending. Collectively, they will serve decades in prison. Without question, that family has been broken up. Without question, that family has been victimized too. Consider the gravity and circumstances of the offenses. The murder was premeditated and planned. Matthew was lured to Utah. This was not a crime of passion. It was not a decision made in the heat of a moment. It was a calculated choice. Mr. Ellis now recognizes this plan was a bad idea, but not only that, he recognized it then. Again, quoting his phone call, I literally warned her. I was like, this is going to have long, like I said. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know I got it across. This is not the best idea you're having. Like, think about it for a second. But, and then, that's why I feel so much blame. Because I didn't step up at that point and be like, you know what? No. I need to step up and take my own advice. I went with. I trusted her. To be involved in the planning of a murder like this, recognize it for what it was, and decide to continue to participate, and then help to try cover it up, merits consecutive sentencing for the obstruction offense. To consciously kill one's own family member mere feet from that victim's own children deserves consecutive sentencing for the domestic violence in the presence of children offenses. Your Honor, the state's position is undoubtedly that Ms. Grist was the ringleader of this conspiracy. But there is nothing about the facts of this murder or the character or rehabilitative needs of Mr. Ellis that are currently before the court that indicate there shouldn't be consecutive sentencing for at least some of the offenses here today. As Mr. Ellis acknowledged, this was a decision, his decision, and no one can take that back. Last, Your Honor, we asked for restitution as outlined in the PSR of $9,700, and we asked the court to sign the continuous protective orders that have been filed.
Have you provided assuming the defense doesn't object, have you provided the names of who would receive restitution?
It is in the PSR. Do you need it on the record?
No, I don't think we do, and it's correct that the defense does not object to the amount that was just stated and is indicated in the pre-sentence report.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Williams,
Judge, would you like us at the podium? What is your preference?
why don't you come up to the podium for this?
Would you like Mr. Ellis as well, or
Yes.
just myself?
Well, is he going to, why don't you come first and address me, and then we'll have your client come up, and I'll ask him if he wishes to address me or not at the lectern.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you know, there's something that Your Honor knows, and the lawyers know it, that is difficult nonetheless in a circumstance where there's been a trial, and my need to advise Mr. Ellis related to if and what is advisable to say at this stage.
I understand that.
And, you know, I just see that in open court. We have just a remarkable Restelli family. And I say that in open court because my addressing of the offenses and the fact that I have to advise Kevin not to make statements about the facts of the case because of legal processes that I won't be involved in. And I don't know what the judgment of other lawyers might be as to what the prudent thing to do in terms of a potential appeal. So I apologize for that feature of this system. I apologize to the Restellis for that. And that is as it is. So really, I think, although it's remarkable, this phone call is remarkable because there's a statement there. And the whole world knows I didn't advise it to happen. But there's something there. He didn't listen to his own advice. And he's never, there's never been an assertion that he didn't shoot Matt. And the issues were, didn't involve him contesting that. So it's an extraordinary case and a very, very, very sad circumstance for him that he'll go to prison for. As indicated, the initial statement by Mr. Pomeroy that I agreed with that erroneously of 20 years is because that's the matrix. So if you sentence him to 15 to life, it seems extraordinarily unlikely that he'll be considered for parole before 20 years. And I want to address that in terms of need for any potential consecutive sentencing. And as you know, and I expect, unfortunately, the Restellis know now, because of this process, that that decision will how long he stays in prison will ultimately be made by other than us, other than Your Honor, with potential for life. They'll know about all the features and factors of the case as they make that decision. Turning to the two bases that the state argues for consecutive, I want to just first note, Mr. Ellis did not oppose the obstruction at charge. We conceded that count. I think that matters. And argues against running it consecutive. It's completely intertwined with the events of that day. Certainly not like somebody took a gun and went and threw it in the river to try to destroy evidence or something. So, but again, it was conceded at trial. In the presence of children is just awful. Thankfully, they weren't directly impacted that evening by being witnesses to anything. But it's them being victims for the rest of their lives is of course absolutely true. I respectfully submit that legal precedent does not allow for that sort of interpretation of number of victims. I don't have the case with me, but I submit that it has been dealt with before, and tertiary damage, and they're not completely tertiary. They're the victims of charged crimes, that's for sure. But again, all taken into account by the acts that the jury ultimately rendered a murder conviction on. So I think that those are legally unsound reasons, as palatable as they may seem for these poor people. They are legally unsound reasons to run consecutive. There's ample opportunity for the Board of Pardons to consider the gravity of the offense in fashioning a release date. I already spoke to restitution. I just want to ask the court to make a record of credit for time served. Again, that ultimate period of time will be determined by the Board of Pardons. If you'd like Mr. Ellis to come to the podium, it's understandable, as I have informed the state and Your Honor in chambers and sort of tried to speak to the reason. He won't be making a statement.
I just think we need to put it on the record, so.
No, I thought you might. So Do you want me to just
Yeah.
make the record now?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis, do you understand? Come on up, come on. You understand that constitutionally you have a right to allocate, to speak at your sentencing, and there's been some legal advice in relation to that that I've had to give you. Do you understand you have the right to speak?
Yes, I do understand that.
And by not addressing the court and the victims in this case, is that based on advice you've been given?
Yes, it is based on advice.
All right, thank you. You may have a seat. Anything else, Mr. Williamson?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Pomeroy, anything else?
No follow-up. I can answer any questions if the court has any.
Why don't you address the issue that Mr. Williams just briefly talked about by the number of victims? Let's make sure that's clear on the record.
Okay. Do you know what it is?
No, but based on what I'm going to say, I don't.
Oh.
Your Honor, sometimes we use the term victim legalistically or formally, and sometimes we use it colloquially. And I think this has been an argument where sometimes those cross over. I'm not going to object to what Mr. Williams says directly from his viewpoint of the formal legalistic view of what a victim is and the number of victims. And clearly there was a victim, a homicide victim, Matthew Restelli. And clearly there were 2 children victims who are the victims of the domestic violence in the presence of a child. The other persons are what we would colloquially call victims. They are definitely affected. They are definitely victims. Secondary or tertiary was a phrase that was used. And though they may not be in the same formalistic view of a victim, to understand that they are victims does go to the gravity and the circumstances of the offenses. It does go to the appropriate punishment and sanction to be affixed to someone that you have affected, whether we legalistically term it a victim or colloquially call it a victim. They are victims. They were affected by these crimes. The facts and the circumstances of these crimes affected them. The gravity of this crime affected them just as much as whether the law calls it a direct, a secondary, or tertiary.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Anything else? All right. All right. Thank you, counsel. I appreciate your actions throughout this trial. It's been very professional. You are a credit to both sides have been a credit to the system. We're now at the end of the trial court side. I appreciate the Restelli family for coming down and speaking to the court. It's clear that you're a remarkable family and you've gone through and are going through a lot. There's nothing that the court can say or do that will give you the amends that you wish and need. This case is a clear tragedy for not just Mr. Restelli, but for his children and his family. And there's nothing that I can say, detail, that was more eloquently stated to the court through his brother, his mother, and in the letters I received and reviewed prior to today. As the state stated colloquially, there are numerous victims, the extended family, Lucas, but we also have your niece and nephew who were 2 victims that were present at the date and time that you committed the act that you've been convicted of. It struck me, as the state pointed out and as they played for us, that you warned your mother that this is going to impact many lives. And it has, and it will. And you also stated a little bit later that I should have said no. You clearly could have backed out and said no and stopped, and this incident wouldn't have occurred. And you didn't have the courage or the desire to say no. The fact is, Mr. Ellis, you knew your actions were wrong. Mr. Restelli didn't have a weapon on him on the night you shot him. He was not a threat to you or to anyone else in your home. Your actions were deliberate and intentional and were done only for convenience, as best as this court can determine, to prevent your sister from having to go back to California to complete a divorce. Yet you could have stopped your actions at any time, as I mentioned, and let that procedure follow through in the civil courts. As Mr. Williams properly noted, but I do think it's important to always mention to the family of a victim, I set parameters. We have an indeterminate sentencing system in the state of Utah. The Utah State Parole Board will make the ultimate decision of how much time the defendant will serve today. Mr. Ellis will have a parameter with a high and a low, but they'll decide where and when that ends. And part of that will be based upon how you behave in prison. When I considered the sentence that I should impose, and I, of course, thought about this well before today, and I've typed up some notes, and as you can see, I've added a lot to that, crossed out things and thought about as I've listened to counsel, as I listened to the victim's family. But under Utah Code Section 76-3-401, as Mr. Pomeroy pointed out, I need to consider the gravity of the offense, the circumstances of the offense, the number of victims, and the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of you, Mr. Ellis. Clearly, this is as grave of offense as we can see. You can't have a more grave offense than the murder of somebody. I can never bring the victim back. I can never impose any type of a sentence that would restore Mr. Ellis back to his family. Mr. Restelli, excuse me, back to his family. The victims are not just as mentioned by the state, Mr. Restelli, but it's his two children, your niece and nephew, who were present in the home when you shot and killed their father. And of course, these two, your niece and nephew, are now being raised by their uncle and their aunt. They are struggling with their father's loss and the impact that has on them. As Mr. Restelli pointed out, he just took your niece to their second father-daughter dance. It's to his credit that he's willing to take his niece and step into that role, but he is only stepping in. He can't take over as father. He can only do as best he can. And your niece and nephew are going to grow up knowing that their father was killed by their uncle for no reason. And tragically, your niece and nephew are facing the ramifications of your actions when they go to school, when other students at school bring up what you did. That really, to this court, shows the gravity of your actions, is that they'll never end for these two children. They will, for the rest of their life, have to live with the fact that they don't have a father for no reason, other than the selfish actions of you. I recognize you have a minimal criminal record. However, I find your rehabilitative needs to be the extreme, as you killed your brother-in-law solely for the convenience of your sister. As I mentioned, he was not a danger or a threat to you, your sister, or any other family members. I consider the extensive planning that went into this crime, including the planning of a knife in your brother-in-law's hand in an effort to confuse or throw off the investigation of your actions. As I mentioned, I think your rehabilitative needs are extreme because this wasn't an action of passion. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment action. It's something that was coldly plotted out by you, yet something that you knew you shouldn't be doing, as we heard in that transcript today. When I take into account all these factors, I believe consecutive sentences are warranted. Therefore, for murder, the statutory maximum that I can impose by law is 15 years to life, and I impose that. For the obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony, once again, the maximum sentence that I can impose by statute is 1 to 15 years, and I impose that. As for the domestic violence in the presence of a child, there are 2 counts of that, third-degree felonies. The maximum sentence that I can impose for those 2 counts is 0 to 5 years in life. When I consider the circumstances of this case, as detailed in the trial, as I just briefly touched on, and by your victim's mother and his brother, I find that it's warranted to run those 4 counts consecutive to each other. As it pertains to the count of purchase, possession, or transfer of a firearm, I impose a statutory maximum of 0 to 5. However, I allow that to run concurrent. As to the count of possession of a controlled substance, a Class A misdemeanor, the maximum that can be imposed is 364 days. I'm going to give you credit for time served, close that case out, order you to pay a $53 court security fee as required by statute, and send that amount to the Office of State Debt Collection. I'm waiving the fine on that. As it pertains to the fine and the other 5 counts, I'm going to waive them, recognizing that you're going to spend at least 20 years in prison. And I would prefer that any income that you have go towards the restitution that I'm going to be ordering. So I'll waive the fine there, but I will order the mandatory $53 court security fee for each count. I'm going to issue a continuous protective order in this matter, which means you can have no contact directly or indirectly with your niece and nephew, ever. As required, I'm going to give you credit towards the sentence for the time that you've served since you were arrested back in July of 2024. The parole board will make that decision as to how much time that will ultimately apply to. And I'll, of course, order restitution in the amount of $9,700. The record will reflect that that's contained in the pre-sentence report, and those names will be paid off a little bit at a time, and probably never, to be honest, Mr. and Mrs. Restelli. That'll be the order of the court. You have 30 days to appeal the sentence that I've imposed today. On an appeal, I would appoint an attorney to represent you at no cost if you qualified and requested the same. Mr. Williams, did you have a question?
I'm sorry for this legalistic, but will you order the restitution joint and several?
Yes, I think that's actually required. We just had a case come down on that. So restitution, of course, will be joint and several. Any other questions, Mr. Williams?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Pomeroy, anything from the state?
One moment, please.
Mr. Brown, we have the name, but we'll need the contact information to mail any restitution amounts. If you could provide that privately to Faye.
We will.
If you don't have that today, then you can just email that to her. When you email it to her, just to make sure that it's not ex parte, just CC Mr. Williams and Mr. Ramos. That's just we have the name of the parties for restitution, but we need the contact information. So they'll email that to the court if they don't have it today, and they'll just CC that to you, Mr. Williams, just make sure everything's correct.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Pomeroy.
Thank you, Your Honor. I don't know there will be any further requests for restitution, but if we could just leave it open for the statutory period in case something comes down.
Any objection, Mr. Williams?
No.
I mean, I think that seems appropriate. There may be counseling for the children. I think that was touched upon at the prior sentencing of Ms. Restelli. So I'll keep that open pursuant to statute, of course, joint and several as well.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you, counsel. We'll be in recess.
All right.